All right. Let's get started. I think this volume with the music and my voice bounce should be good. Let me fix my screen here. Hey guys, what's up? My name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games. I illustrate them. I publish them online. And we are currently designing for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition using the new 5.5 rules for 2024. We are converting the magic of D&D, the Vancian spell slots per level, and the 8 schools of magic in D&D, and we are replacing them with the 5 colors of magic from Magic the Gathering, and using a mana system, which is like spell points that are, there's 5 colors, white, blue, black, red, green. So our mana pool of points that we have to cast spells with are similarly devoted to white, blue, black, red, green. Spells are devoted to 1 or more colors. So like if you're throwing a fireball, which is a 3rd level red spell, you would have to have 3 points of mana in your mana pool, and at least one of them would have to be red. The other 2 could be any color that you want. But when you cast that fireball, like D&D, everything happens just like normal, except instead of spending a 3rd level spell slot, you spend 3 points of mana. And if you are using the color system, where each spell is assigned to a specific colors or multiple colors, that mana has to have at least 1 point of mana of that color. If you run out of red mana, but you still have like white and blue mana, then you can't cast the red spell Fireball anymore until you take a rest, at which point you could swap some of the colors of like the white and blue mana that you had left to become red, so that you could throw more red spells. So your character, when you're a full caster, you're balancing what are the colors of spells that I want to cast, and what colors am I willing to dilute my mana pool across the different colors. So I might have spells of all colors, and so I have to have at least a little bit of mana of each color to cast those spells, otherwise I can't cast them anymore. So it becomes a balancing game of how color focused do I want to be with the spell selection I have, so I can reduce the amount of colors I need in my mana pool, so I have more spells I can cast more reliably. And you can also do things like during downtime, research a spell, so you can change the color that it's devoted to. You can find loot and like scrolls and stuff that you can study, so that you can change the color of if the spell is on a spell scroll, it's a different color that it would normally be, and that is convenient for you. Like maybe you want that Fireball to be white instead of red, because you only want, like, say, white and blue mana in your mana pool, because you want to play an Azorius, which is Azorius Synod is white and blue mana. So if I want Fireball on my list as an Azorius Synod character, if I have some downtime at my guild, or if I find loot that expresses Fireball as white magic, I could then research and study that source, and now I can cast Fireball as white. So the full casters can get treasure by getting access to different resources that take spells that they want and make them naturally devoted to, change their devotion so that they are in the colors that they want. So as their characters gain power and a larger mana pool, they can collect it into eventually potentially even just a mono color. Like, all my spells are now white, all my mana is now white. I don't have to worry about colors at all anymore, because I am completed. So anyway, so those are some of the ideas that we're playing with. So I'm going to fix my screen here. And so if you find today's stuff cool, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications when we're live in the future. A bunch of books that I've created on DMsGuild where I publish my stuff is all linked down here. It all has free previews. The magic system that I'm talking about has already been published for 2014 5.0 rules. Here's that full bundle. It's a gold bestseller, so thanks to everyone that's invested in purchasing. Hey, Forge, it's good to see you. Yeah, all these books are free previews. So what we're doing currently is we are rebuilding them for 2024. So we've expanded the powers. Initially, it was just for spellcasting, but now with the expansion over the past 2 years that we've been playtesting this stuff, we're at a point where all the martial characters have mana like a monk does. So all classes are either martial, hybrid, or full casters. So everyone is using a mana pool with the system. This is the master document that we've been accumulating the playtest document information in. Here is a link to the Color Mana playtest document that we are literally looking at right now. So I'll be referencing this document. You are welcome to do so as well at your leisure. But today we are going to review and update the wizard. I think I only have time for one today, but we're going to get ourselves up here into the wizard, and we're going to look at the wizard base chassis. And since there are no schools of magic, you could keep necromancy and conjuration and stuff like that if you want to out of the player's handbook. But the point is that the color mana system, the 5 colors, replaces the 8 schools. Because, like, I cast a necromancy spell doesn't mean anything other than a descriptor tag. Unless, of course, you have, like, the necromancy wizard tradition, and then you get some perks. But it doesn't typically have anything to do, actually, with necromancy other than making it cheaper for you to scribe scrolls. So we wanted to lean into the idea of the wizard, if you wanted to, having a devotion, like having your subclass specialize in a specific color. Like if I'm playing an Azorius Synod character who uses white and blue mana, I would naturally lean into either a white or blue devotion. because that's going to give me benefits for using spells and mana that's white or blue, whatever color it is that we're operating in. And of course, as we go on, like we'll add Blade Singer and Warcaster and all that other stuff to allow them to basically use any color that they want. But we'll do those in future expansions. Right now, we're just focusing on what's in the player's handbook or the equivalent of what's in the player's handbook. And then we'll expand out from there, either on DMsGuild or on my Patreon. Either way, check them out. Hey, what's up? I don't know if you saw my message in the Kaiju campaign Discord, but I forgot when you said we would do Session 0. Probably the beginning of April. I don't want to begin the campaign until I've finished publishing the Eberron adventure that I've been working on. Currently, I'm processing assets on the Eberron adventure off screen. Next week, we'll be back on continuing with developing the Mecha Kaiju Eberron Spelljammer campaign that we've been working on. We're going to dive into that, building like asteroid dungeons and stuff like that for us to fight Kaiju inside of. So I should be picking that up about this time next week. We'll finish all of these color mana classes here on our evening stream, and then we'll switch back over to the Mecha Kaiju Bastion stuff. I'm hoping that I have all the assets completed for the Eberron adventure and have it published before April. That'll make a really smooth transition for us to then move into that space, because I'll have more free time opened up for me to do DM stuff for the campaign. So yeah, like beginning of April is what we're looking at right now. I don't have a specific date yet because I don't know how long it's going to take to actually get the Eberron adventure published. I do it in my spare time, which is limited. So whenever I can get it done, I get it done. But I'll give you at least a week's notice. So yeah, stay tuned if you want. Let's see. Okay, so we're going to explore the wizard today. I did a quick crash course in mana. The mana pool that we have that we get back on a long rest, we get 2 first level spells at first level, which is appropriate. If you were to add up, if we were to go into the Vancian magic system here that we have with the spell slots for the wizard, at 20th level, you can see they have 4 first, 3 second, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 2, 6th, 7th, and 1 8th and 9th. If you add all those together, that's 89 levels worth of spells that your wizard is able to cast per long rest. We were able to simplify that, and let's go to the simple screen here. We start with 2 and we end with 80 mana. A half caster has 40 mana, and a off or light, like a third caster, has 20 mana. So 20, 40, 80. There's your 3 gears there. The number of prepared spells that we have, we start you with 4, and you end up with 26. That's 1 more than what the wizard has listed here. The way that this has ended up balancing is that the wizard and the sorcerer get 26 spells. The cleric, druid, bard, and druid, cleric, bard. That's it. Yeah. They get 23 spells each, and then all the other class, the half casters and the martial characters get 20 spells or powers each, and then the warlock gets 15 spells, but they also get 11 invocations, so they end up with 26 as well. So that's our stack of prepared spells, and again, using the color mana system, if you are you could just do generic mana, and then when you cast a spell, if it's red, you describe it as red. Or you could have generic mana where any point can cast any spell, but you limit yourself to the colors that you chose. Like an Azorius Senate character would only choose white and blue spells, or other colored spells that they then cheat into by modifying them to be white and blue. Those would be the only spells they could have, but the mana pool they can cast on any of those spells that they have access to. And then you can go mega hardcore strict mode, where you have to spend at least 1 point of mana in the color of the spell that you're using. And again, when you run out of that color, you can't cast those spells again until you take some sort of rest to switch mana around to be the color that you actually need it to be when you finish that short rest. So like that Azorius Senate character with white, blue mana, if they pick up that red fireball we were talking about earlier, if they want to stay true to the Azorius Senate, they can only use white and blue mana, which means they can't cast fireball until they research it or prepare it twice off of their spell list to make it white, or blue. So you have those 3 different gears that you can shift in: purely descriptive, limiting your spell preparation list, and then having the right color, having to align your color mana pool with the color of spells that you want to cast. So you have those 3 degrees of, those 3 gears of intensity or strictness of making it a loose or a strict magic system. So prepared spells, and then of course when you get bonus spells, you can make those any color that you want. So all the bonus spells that you get from your character, from your subclass list, those can be cast any color that you want. So like a Golgari, which is black-green mana, that is like say a wild magic sorcerer, and a Gruul character that is like say red and green, also a wild magic character sorcerer. The bonus spells that they get, they would be able to cast them in whatever color they want to, because they're bonus spells. They can always cast their bonus spells any color they want, so they always have access to those spells because that's their subclass focus. So, but the prep spells, having so many prep spells, makes it easy for you to cheat spells in by preparing it twice when you get access to it, and then if you keep using it, then take the downtime to do the downtime week of research and meditation to convert a spell each week. So building downtime into your campaign benefits being able to sculpt your mana pool, which Ravnica, Theros, and Strixhaven all encourage in the campaign bundle that they released for each of those books back in like 2015 through 2020. What else we got? We got our cantrips. Start with 3. We'll end with 6. That's a little bit more than what the Player's Handbook gives. The Player's Handbook stops giving them to you like at 10th level. And that I just think that you should at least get at least 1 more cantrip at some point along the way. 3, 4, 5, 6. There you go. And then max spell level starts at level 1 as usual. 17th level is level 9. In this system, we add in the 10th level spell, maximum spell limit at 19th level, and we make Wish the only 10th level spell in the game, which I think is appropriate. And then at 20th level, you can enhance Wish further by permanently sacrificing mana to make your wish come true without tomfoolery, which we've talked about a number of times in the past. And then we have our class features. So let's go over our class features real quick, and then we'll get into the subclasses. So level 1, Ritual Adept. You can cast any spell as a ritual if that spell is the ritual tag and the spell is in your spell book. You don't need to prepare the spell, but you have to read it from your book to cast it that way, which is super useful. Spell casting, the total number of cantrip spells and mana that you get is listed above. You can swap 1 cantrip when you gain a level. If you have your spell book, you can swap all prepared spells when you finish a long rest. Casting a spell costs 1 mana per level at your up to your maximum spell level. So 5th level can cast 3rd level spells with 3 points of mana each, as we've talked about. When using color mana, only 1 point of mana needs to be devoted to one of the colors of the spell. Any additional mana can be any color. Like Fireball is a red spell, so I have to spend 3 points of mana. If I'm being strict about assigning mana, a color to each point of mana, then 1 point has to be red, and the other 2 points can be anything that I want. When you finish a short or long rest, you can swap colors. 1, 2, 3. When you finish a long rest, short or long rest, you can swap colors for any amount of mana that remains in your pool. And then we have our duration, and we simplified the duration and the concentration rules. We looked at those in episode 1 through 6 of this playlist series that we're building here. And then again, we're not limited since we don't get free spell castings generally. Then the rule changes currently in D&D 5.5. If you can cast a spell without using a spell slot, you could then cast both a normal spell with a magic action and a bonus spell, as long as one of those doesn't require a spell slot. But with the mana system, you get so much mana, you don't want to give people free castings of a spell. You instead want to give them some sort of advantage for using mana to cast that spell. Give them like a kicker effect or reduce cost even, but you always want them spending mana when they're casting spells, or spend mana to get a feature back. So you're constantly fatiguing the mana pool so they can burn through all of their mana. So because of that, the idea of when you cast a spell without spending a spell slot doesn't mean anything anymore. But there's so many ways to get spells without spending spell slots. The rule doesn't really mean anything anymore. So we just allow you, unless you're a sorcerer, if you can cast a spell as a bonus action and a magic action, you can cast them both in the same round. That's not a problem because you're spending mana on both of them anyway. The sorcerer is the exception to that, where when they use meta magic to quicken a spell as a bonus action, they can only use a cantrip as a magic action in the same round. So they're the ones that have that limitation. But otherwise, we're all free to do but there's only a handful of spells that don't require an attack action before you cast as a bonus action anyway. It's either movement spells or defense spells or attack or combat spells that require ongoing action economy to utilize. So there's no game breaking in 5.5 allowing that. So, starting at level 2, Scholar, while studying magic, you also specialize in another field of study. Choose one of the following skills in which you have proficiency: Arcana, History, Investigation, Medicine, Nature, Religion. You have the expertise in that chosen skill. That's no change from the player's handbook, but it is a feature that you get, so it's worth noting. Level 3, we get our subclass at 3, 6, 10, 14, like most good classes should. Feats at 4, 8, 12, 16. Again, how good classes go. Memorize spell at 5. When you finish a short rest, you can study your spell book and replace one of the level 1 plus wizard spells you have prepared for your spell casting feature with another level 1 plus spell from the spell book. I want to word that differently. Whenever you finish a short rest, you can study your spell book and replace one of the wizard spells you have prepared for your spell casting, prepared with another. You prepared. I don't know why I need all that language. You have prepared for another spell of equal level from your spellbook. That's easier. Spell mastery. Wow, we go from 5th level to 18th level. Nice jump, guys. 18, choose a level 1 and a level 2 spell in your spellbook that have a casting time of a magic action. You always have those spells prepared, and you can cast them at the lowest level without expending mana. To cast either spell at a higher level, you must expend mana as normal. These spells... lower level without expending mana as a cantrip. To cast either spell at a higher level, you must expend mana as normal. These spells, regardless, these spells are for maintaining concentration. These spells are considered cantrips. And that actually matters something with this system. Without expending mana, period. You always have these spells prepared, and you can cast them at their lowest level without expending mana. To cast either spell at a higher level, you must expend mana as normal. Let's do it this way. Consider cantrips, period. To cast either spell at a higher level, you must expend mana as normal, and maintaining concentration and for maintaining concentration, comma, these spells are the concentration DC is equal to the level of spell it is to cast either spell at a higher level equal to the level of spell amount of mana spent. I'm trying to figure out the wording on this. Hold on. Okay, so the way that it works is that the level of your spell plus 10 equals the concentration DC that you need. So a cantrip is a 0 level spell, so it has a concentration DC of 10. A 3rd level spell, 3 mana, 3rd level, plus 10 is a DC 13. So whenever you make a saving throw, if you're maintaining concentration on a 3rd level spell, whatever saving throw you roll and whatever DC you need to succeed the save is irrelevant. That saving throw has to hit at least a 13 or better for you to continue maintaining concentration, whether you succeed the saving throw or not. That is harsh on concentration spells. Concentration spells are arguably the broken thing about the game in combat. Guardian Spirits, Force Cage, you name a spell, it probably requires concentration. And concentration has no teeth in 5e. So what we did instead was the level of spell that you're casting, whatever level of spell you're maintaining concentration on, again, that becomes the DC that you need, which means you're going to lose it more often than you otherwise would have, just because you're having to make that, you're always weighing your saving throw against the concentration DC. But you have so much mana that you can recast spells repeatedly. Like once you get into mid-levels, you can cast spells over and over and over again, so you can afford to lose it, and that's a way for you to actually burn through a mana pool on characters, even though they have a low number of encounters per day. Those encounters are going to constantly tax and shit test your concentration to see if you keep that spell running or not. In balance to that, you can maintain concentration on as many spells as you want up to your maximum spell limit. So if you are a 9th level full caster, like a wizard, you can maintain 5 levels worth of spells, which means you could maintain 5 1st level spells, a 5th level spell, a 3rd and a 2nd level spell, a 4th and a 1st level spell, any combination up to 5 mana. But to concentrate on all those spells together would be a DC 15 on a strength, dexterity, intelligence, wisdom, any saving throw that you make. If you don't hit at least a 15, you're going to lose concentration on all those spells, whether you succeeded the saving throw or not. So you can risk stacking up a shitload of mana on your characters, and higher level spells that you're concentrating on will automatically have a higher risk of being disrupted naturally. So you're going to have to cast those spells repeatedly when you get into heavy circumstances where your characters aren't taking precautions to protect the spellcasters from having to make saving throws. So it adds an extra layer of tactical difficulty in keeping your casters with concentration safe while your frontliners are able to take hits and not worry about it. Hence the martial power system that we've been developing, where the martial characters don't need to maintain concentration on spells to do cool shit, using weeboo magic and their martial mana pool for the martial power system, kind of like Book of the Ninth Sword from 3rd edition, if you know it. So having said that, these spell masteries are treated as cantrips. So if it requires, like for example, Spider Climb is a 2nd level spell, and that would normally have a concentration DC of 12. But with Spell Mastery, you cast it as though it is a cantrip, so it doesn't require any mana, and the difficulty, the saving throw DC is only 10. If I stack up multiple cantrip effects that require concentration, each one counts as 1. The first one is 0, and then for every additional cantrip that you stack up, it becomes an extra +1. So our 9th level wizard could potentially maintain concentration on up to 6 cantrips at the same time. Like a bard, for instance, at 9th level, could maintain concentration on 6 minor illusions or prestidigitation effects while performing at the same time. So like you would realistically be able to use either your performance or your arcana check as a performance skill with charisma or intelligence or dexterity, depending on how you manipulate your magic during your performance. So it gives you a lot of flexibility there. But again, in combat, it comes at a price. So fun system, it works really well. It does a lot to knock down the full casters, because when they're making saving throws, they're not necessarily going to have great stats. And as long as you keep a rotation between physical and mental stats to help keep it from being too dull or always attacking the bad stat of one particular character, you want to mix it up. So like you could have goblins that are using trip effects that are requiring dexterity saving throws, while their like ogre boss might be using strength saving throws to knock you down as well, or to push you, making dexterity with the goblins and strength with the ogre to push the characters around. So if they can get onto the caster, they're going to force that caster to make dexterity and strength saving throws while they're getting knocked around. Not only is their hit point pool going to get attacked, but their concentration is now being attacked as well. So it's just an added layer of complexity and tactical design for how a DM can build combat for characters using the system. So it's fun. Let's see. So I'm trying to figure out the wording on, now that I walked through how that works, we're working on the spell mastery language. So choose a level 1 and level 2 spell in your spellbook and have a casting time of a magic action. You always have these spells prepared, and you can cast them at their lowest level without expending mana. For maintaining concentration, those spells are considered cantrips. To cast either spell at a higher level, you must expend mana as normal, and expend mana, and the concentration DC are equal to the level of spell upcast. To the level of spell, it's you upcast it to. That's horrible language, but it's going to work for now. Whenever you finish a long rest, you can study your spellbook and replace one of those spells with an eligible spell of the same level from the book. 1, 2, 3. Long rest. You can swap it. Let's see. I want to see that again. To cast either spell, if you let's do it this way. If you choose to cast either spell at a higher level, you must expend mana as usual, and you must expend mana, and the concentration DC. You must expend mana as usual, comma, and the concentration DC is equal to and the concentration DC is 10 plus mana expended as normal, period. There we go. And then 19, Epic Boon. And level 20 is Signature Spell. Signature Spell goes like this. Choose 2 level 3 spells in your spellbook as your signature spells. You always have these spells prepared. And you can cast each of them once at level 3 without expending mana. When you do so, you can't cast them that way again until you finish a short or long rest. To cast either spell at a higher level, you must expend mana as normal. Yeah, I'm okay with that. And you can cast each of them once at level 3 without expending mana as a cantrip. You must expend mana as normal with a normal concentration DC. You must expend mana and maintain concentration as normal. There you go. Mana and maintain concentration as normal, period. That sounds pretty good. Let's just grab that. I think that's the cleanest language we have so far. Burp. Now, okay, great. At 20th level, yes, they are getting a spell cast for no mana. That I'm immediately breaking our own rules, right? But hey, that's level 20 for you. Wizard subclass. Okay, so that's all there is to the wizard. Very simple chassis. Let's look at our subclasses. So again, we're replacing the 8 schools of magic with the 5 colors of magic. So that means we also want to replace the 8 traditions of wizardry and replace that with the 5 colors of magic for wizards. So we're going to look at, instead of abjuration, conjuration, necromancy, transmutation, we have white, blue, black, red, green magic. So having said that, features, let's look at it. White Savant. So choose 2 wizard spells, each of which must be no higher than level 2, and add them to your spell book for free. These spells are devoted to white magic for you in addition to their native colors. Whenever you gain access to a new level of spell in this class, you can add 1 additional spell level up to the max level spell you can cast as a wizard to your spell book this way for free. In addition, the cost and time spent on research to devote a spell to white magic is halved. So, for example, let's go look at our spell list. Let's go here. Let's go to our color mana list. Here's the MTG books. Let's look at our spell list here. This is the revised color mana spell list. It's pay what you want. So go ahead and pick it up. Just download it. It's yours. If you want to give me money for it, God bless you. But I just want people to look at this stuff. It's hard enough just to get people to look at third-party content, much less get you to pay for it to look at it. Fuck off. So 5 colors of magic: white, blue, black, red, green. We've expanded on this, but generally there's like divinity, healing, light, protection, restraint is white magic, air, illusion, mind, suppression, water is blue, control, entropy, fear, soul, darkness is roughly what black is about in D&D terms. Aggression, earth, emotion, energy, impulse is language for red, and green of animals, healing, plants, nature's spirit. And then the 10 types of damage in D&D: acid, cold, fire, force, lightning, necrotic, poison, psychic, radiant, and thunder damage are all devoted to 1 or more colors. Like, for example, fire is always red in magic, so here it is as well. But like force effects are generally white, blue, and red. Lightning is red, while thunder is red, but it's also green and blue. Cold damage is blue. Acid damage, blue, black and green, while poison is also black and green. Necrotic damage is black. Radiant damage is white. Most of this stuff is just incredibly intuitive. So take these different aspects or descriptor tags for each color, combine it with the damage types that the spells do, then we get a general matrix of what colors each spell is. Like Acid Splash is a cantrip. It doesn't cost any mana to cast it, but if you were to give it a color identity, it would generally be blue and green, black and green, because it's acid, black and green. Chill Touch is necromantic damage, not cold damage. So necromancy, necrotic damage is black, so naturally Chill Touch is aligned to black. Dancing Lights is an illusory effect, which is generally the purview of blue, so it's a blue spell. Eldritch Blast does force damage, which we know is naturally white, blue, and red. So if you were to cast Eldritch Blast as a cantrip, it won't cost you any mana, but it will have one of those, normally those color identities. If we kick up here to spells, like Witch Bolt, for instance, does lightning damage. So it's a first level spell. It's a red spell, so it would cost 1 point of red mana. While Thunder Wave does thunder damage and hits an AoE pushing people. So that's going to be blue, red, and green, because thunder is blue, red, and green. So it only costs 1 mana. That 1 point of mana, if you're using strict magic, is going to either be 1 point of blue, red, or green, your choice. So that's basically how the spell works. So if we're looking at what the subclass offers, so at 3rd level, we get 2 spells, right? So we're slowing the roll of these traditions of white magic considerably. Instead of getting 10 spells from level 3 to 9, instead what we're doing is, as you get access to more spells at higher level, you naturally get the 2 spells at whatever level you're at whenever you gain a level. But with this system, every time you gain a spell level from level 3 to 19, you're going to get another spell that you can just automatically grab and make white. So like we were looking at our spell list here, like for example, our white magic wizard might want to pick up, say, Melf's Acid Arrow at 2nd level. It's naturally black and green because it's acid damage, but because we are a white wizard, we could take any spell up to 2 spells up to 2nd level and just say those are white spells for me. So in this case, Melf's Acid Arrow, whenever we cast Melf, we're going to use 2 points. One can be white and the other one can be any color that we want. If we're trying to have a mono white character, then it would be 2 points of white. If I was like, say, Boros. Boros is white and red, so I could cast Melf's Acid Arrow as a white Boros wizard with 1 point of white, and the other point could be either white or red, because as a Boros character, I would only be using, for narrative and background and character reasons, only white and red mana, because that's the identity of Boros characters. Or like in Strixhaven, that's Lorehold. It'd be it's white and red magic. So you would cast spells as white or red, and this wizard, the white wizard, gets you access to all of these spells of white. So by the time you get to 19th level, there's 10 spells that you automatically get devoted to white magic when normally it wouldn't be, and you don't have to do any research on that for free. So, and if you do, because of the class feature, if you do decide to research it, you can do so in half your time. And in a Bastion campaign, that gets translated into any character can research a spell in a week. For the tradition of white magic, you can pick up 2 spells in 1 week of downtime instead of just 1. So that's a great feature. And then at level 3, we also get the Arcane Ward. We basically took the 8 schools of magic and we broke them apart and recombined them into the 5 colors. So white is defense and protection and healing. So Arcane Ward makes perfect sense for a white wizard. It's just the Arcane Ward feature from the Abjurist, but it's been modified to lean into the idea of color mana. So when you expend white mana to cast a spell, you can simultaneously use a strand of the white magic to create a magical ward on yourself that lasts until you finish a long rest. The ward has a hit point maximum equal to twice your wizard level plus your int modifier. Whenever you take damage, the ward takes the damage instead. And if you have resistance or vulnerabilities, apply them before reducing the ward's hit points. If the damage reduces the ward to 0, you take any remaining damage. While the ward has 0 hit points, it can't absorb damage, but its magic remains. Whenever you cast a spell with white mana, so like I could cast, like, say, a red fireball, 1 point of red and then 2 points in white. Those 2 points of white on that red spell qualify here. Whenever you cast a spell with white mana, the ward regains a number of hit points equal to twice the white mana expended. So in that case of the fireball, I'd get 4 hit points. Alternatively, as a bonus action, you can expend white mana up to your max spell level to restore twice as many hit points to your ward. So as a bonus action, I could cast fireball as a magic action at 3rd level with 2 points of white and 1 red. Red to activate the fireball and the other 2 white just to cast for the fun of it. And so that gives me 4 hit points. And then as a bonus action, like say as a 6th level wizard, at that point I can cast 3rd level spells. So I could just spend 3 points of mana to get another 6 points as a bonus action. That gives me 10 points accumulated in my arcane ward at this point. So, that was at 3rd level I could do that. So 2nd level, that could be another 4. When a creature that you can see within 30 feet of yourself takes damage, you can take a reaction to cause your arcane ward to absorb that damage. If the damage reduces the ward to 0 hit points, the warded creature takes any remaining damage. If that creature has any resistances or vulnerabilities, apply them before reducing the ward's hit points. So we just like projected ward from the Abjurist, we can let that character soak damage off of our ward. Level 10, Interposing Force. When a creature hits you with an attack roll, you can take a reaction to create a shield of interposing force energy between the attacker and yourself. The attack automatically misses you, and then the shield dissipates. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a short or long rest. You can also restore your use of it by expending 2 white mana, no action required. And by 10th level, you've got a truckload of damage. The attack automatically misses, then the shield dissipates. So it uses a reaction for 2 mana. At 10th level, we're going to have 36 mana? Yeah, 36 mana at 10th level. So you could do that literally 18 times, but that'll completely exhaust your mana pool to do so. It's 1 mana for a shield spell, which increases your armor class by 5 for the round, but that uses your reaction. This one just completely nullifies an attack roll against you. It just nulls the damage for 2 mana a pop. So that's because it nullifies the damage. It won't force a Constitution saving throw on you unless you actually take damage, or the attack otherwise forces a saving throw, like for tripping and stuff. Spell resistance, 14. You have advantage on your saving throws against spells, and you have resistance to the damage that you take. There you go. 1, 2, 3. Which would then be able to use the Arcane Ward to further reduce the damage before you take any. Tradition of Blue Magic. So that's white. It's basically it's very keyed, encoded to the Abjurist. Very similar. So let's look at blue. Blue Magic. Again, looking at the tenets of Blue Magic. Generally, Blue Magic is stuff like related to air, illusion, mind, suppression, water. Those are some of the ideas that go along with blue. Blue Savant. Choose 2 wizard spells, each of which can't be any higher than level 2. Add them to your spell book for free. Those spells are devoted to blue magic in addition to any other native colors that they have. The cost and time spent to research blue is halved. In addition, whenever you gain access to a new level of spells in the class, you can add 1 additional wizard spell up to the max level spell you can cast as a wizard in your spellbook this way for free. So, at level 3 you get 2, and then at 5 you get up to a 3rd level, at level 7 up to a 4th level, etc. At 19 up to 10th level spell you gain automatically into your spellbook, or even if it's already in your spellbook, it automatically gets converted to blue magic. So you're consolidating your power over time into just blue mana, so you can become mono blue. Portent. Whenever you finish a long rest, roll 2 d20s and record the results. You can replace any d20 test made by you or a creature that you can see that with one of these results. You must choose to do so before the roll, and you can replace a roll in this way only once. You can choose to do so before the roll, and you can replace a roll in this way only once per turn. Each result can be used only once. When you finish a long rest, you lose any unused results. And magical awareness. When you expend blue mana to cast a spell, the magical energy suffuses you with deeper awareness and understanding at that lasts until the finish of a long rest. Choose one of the following benefits: dark vision, 120 feet. You gain dark vision with a range of 120 feet. Good. Greater comprehension. You read any language, and you can cast the identify spell as a magic action without expending mana. Hidden knowledge. You gain expertise in 2 skills you're proficient with, or 1 skill you aren't. Whenever you expend blue mana to cast another spell, you can expend. So you can constantly switch this when you're spending any kind of any kind of blue mana inside of spell casting. Super useful. Spellbreaker. You always have the counter spell. 1, 2, 3. You always have the counter spell and dispel magic spells prepared. In addition, you can cast dispel magic as a bonus action, and you can add your proficiency bonus to the ability check. Again, you can cast normal spells and bonus spells in the same round together. It doesn't matter if you're expending mana on them or not. When you expend only blue mana to cast either spell, if the spell fails to stop a spell, the mana is returned to your mana pool. That's great. So both of these spells, 3rd level, right? Let's see. Counter magic and dispel magic down here. Counter spell is blue, and dispel magic is both white and blue. So when you cast either, you can cast dispel magic as a bonus action, and you can cast counter spell as a reaction, obviously. If they're 3rd level, so you only have to spend 1 point of blue, and then the other 2 points can be whatever you want. But if you choose to only spend blue mana on these 3rd level spells, so 3 mana that's blue, again, encouraging you to be mono blue. If you fail the check, you get all that mana back. If I used 1 point of blue and, like, say, 2 points of red, that doesn't qualify for Spellbreaker. I could still cast it as a bonus action, like dispel as a bonus action, but if I don't succeed because I use red mana instead of pure blue, I don't get the mana back. So this is encouraging me to sculpt my mana pool to only be blue so I can make use of these features more frequently. Greater Portent, you now roll 3 d20s rather 2, and you can expend 2 blue mana to reroll any result. So you could continue to burn mana repeatedly to replace that, to reroll that die to get the die roll that you want. You now roll 3 dice, and you can expend 2 blue mana to reroll any result. No action required. There. So very simple. Portent becomes useful. You spend 2 blue mana, and you can, again, encouraging you to have blue mana in your mana pool. You can continue. You can roll those. I mean, at 14th level, you're going to have like what, 48 mana, I think. Let's double check that. 52 mana. I was off. So we have 52 mana, which means we could do that 26 times. We could re-roll those dice 26 times to get as high a result or as low a result as we want. If it's a mid die, like if it's a 10, it's like mid, who cares? I might be willing to spend 6 or 8 points at 14th level to try to jack that that 10 result to skew either really low to use against my enemies or really high to give to my allies. It's a mana sink. It's encouraging you to spend mana to get better use of class features that you get access to. Everything that we have in this system is designed to burn down your mana pool, because that's the biggest problem with the 2 biggest problems with spell slots or spell point systems is your ability to spam low level stuff and how easy it is for you to replace things if they get knocked out, like in the instance of concentration. So we resolve both of those by giving you a good, robust mana pool that allows you to recast spells over and over again, but making your concentration much more delicate, and to give you class features that are equal to second-level spells for you to continue to burn through your mana pool, to burn yourself down so you're going to want to take that long rest. That's what we're trying to do, is exhaust the characters so that they want to rest. That's our goal. So a good DM is burning through their resources at a pace where by the time they're out of resources, they're ready to take a long rest, and you're ready for them to as well. So this system helps burn through that resource pool more quickly. Black magic, super fun. So Black Savant, again, choose 2 wizard spells up to 2nd level at level 3 wizard, 2 spells up to 2nd level magic. They are black for you. Every time you gain an additional level, you can add another spell up to your max spell level to your book as pure black. Grim Harvest, whenever you kill a creature with a spell you cast, you gain 1d6 temporary hit points for each point of black mana expended. So if I throw Fireball and it's like, say, a red spell, and I use 2 black mana when I throw that Fireball, if I kill at least 1 creature with that Fireball, I'll get 2d6 temporary hit points because of the black mana that I expended. Summon Thrall. So you always have the Summon Undead spell prepared, and whenever you cast it by expending only black mana, the undead gains the benefit of upcasting without expending an additional mana to do so. Whenever you cast it by expending only black mana, the undead gains the benefit of upcasting without expending gains the benefit of upcasting to your maximum spell level without expending additional mana to do so. So Summon Undead can be cast up to 10th level with this, but it's only going to cost you 3 mana to do so, and you only have to concentrate on it as a 3rd level spell, so the DC is only 13, but at 19th level, you can crank it all the way up to 10, and it's still only going to cost you 3 mana. So you're always going to have a beefy brute hanging out with you, and it doesn't cost a lot of mana for you to do so. Inured to Necrosis, you control your control of black magic inoculates you from its baleful effects. You have resistance to necrotic damage, and your hit point maximum can't be reduced. And as a concentration effect, you can ignore 1 exhaustion level for each point of black mana you tap to do so, up to 5, because 6 degrees of exhaustion kills you. But until it kills you, you can take 5 degrees of exhaustion and ignore them if you're willing to continue maintaining concentration. So while you maintain concentration, you can ignore the effects of exhaustion, even if you have to make a saving throw and you fail that DC 15, you could then just spend another 5 points of mana and regain that inoculation against exhaustion until you're forced to make that saving throw again. So again, another heavy mana sink. But at 10th level, you've got, what did we say? It was 38 mana, something like that. Anyway, 28 mana. That's right. So you can do this a lot. Fiendish. I mean, it's a rare case where you're going to have 5 degrees of exhaustion, but this allows the if a DM leans into that mechanic, the black wizard really shines. And then Fiendish Ally. You always have the Summon Fiend spell prepared, and whenever you cast it by expending only black mana, it is a persistent spell. You can have only 1 Fiend summoned at a time this way. So Summon Fiend is normally a concentration spell. With this concentration system, you could cast, well, let's look up, hold on. Let's look at, let's look up Summon Fiend. I think it's a 6th level spell. Yeah, 6th level spell. It normally lasts 1 hour with a concentration, so the DC would be 16 to maintain control of that demon. Let's see. The creature disappears when it drops to 0 hit points or when the spell ends, which would end when you have when your concentration breaks. So with this modification as listed, it's normally an hour of concentration. This makes it persistent. So when we cast it as a 6th level spell, it will last for until you finish a long rest. Then you can end it anytime you want, but it'll last until you finish a long rest. And when you finish that long rest, you could choose to just leave those 6 points of mana expended, and the spell won't dismiss. It will remain. So you can have a constant fiend companion with you. As long as it doesn't drop to 0 hit points, it will be your ally that can stay with you for however long you're willing to leave those 6 points of mana spent. It is a persistent spell. You can only have 1 fiend summoned at a time this way. Well, we can only have 1 fiend summoned at a time this way anyway. Oh, wait, no, because it would be persistent. Persistent doesn't require concentration. When you're maintaining concentration, the maximum amount of mana you can have maintained at once at 19th level is 10. So you could at best have a 6th level and a 4th level spell, not 2 summon fiends. But when it becomes persistent, it doesn't require concentration. So if we don't have that disclaimer there, you could literally spend your entire mana pool on summoning 22 demons that you would have 12 demons that you would have permanently with you. So we had to make sure we added the modifier. You can only have 1 fiend summoned this way. But you could have a 2nd fiend that you're maintaining concentration on as a 6th level spell with a DC 16 minimum on all saving throws. It's difficult to keep it, but you have it if you want it. So that's not bad. If you can keep yourself from having to take concentration hits and force saving throws, it's going to work well for you. The trick in your team is how can we set up our tactics defensively so we won't immediately lose that spell when a goblin chucks a javelin at us and potentially trips our wizard. What are we going to do to prevent that from happening? That's why we created martial powers, to create all sorts of tactical defensive options that prevents your backline concentration casters from taking those hits. You can stop them with martial powers. So those teams synergize together. The marshals actually protect the full casters that are maintaining these stupidly high, fragile power spells. Anyway, it's a different type of power balance. It's really fun to play with. Let's look at the tradition of red magic. 2 spells, they're red for you. Gain 1 by 19th. You've got 10 spells that normally wouldn't be red are red for you without any cost. Burp. 1, 2, 3. Level 3, Empowered Evocations. Whenever you expend red mana to cast a wizard spell, you can add your intelligence modifier to 1 damage roll of that spell. So this is a lot of this is just pulling off of both the transmutation and the evocation wizard. So you're going to see tastes of that on both of these. Sculpt spell. When you expend red mana while casting a spell that affects other creatures that you can see, you can choose a number of them equal to 1 plus the amount of red mana expended. The chosen creatures automatically succeed on their saving throws against the spell, and they take no damage if they would normally take half damage on a successful save. So at 6th level, I can cast up to 3rd level spells. If I cast that spell with just 3 points of red mana, that'd be 4 myself plus 3 other allies, or 4 people total. I could sculpt the spell to not damage them. Like drop a fireball at point blank 0, include myself with 1 point of mana. Out of 3, I can just cast fireball on myself at 0 range and have the spell explode around me, automatically succeeding my saving throw and taking no damage. There you go. So I can be my red wizard character can just literally just barrel into a squad of monsters, drop 3 mana on myself, take no damage, and just burst everybody around me. Super fun. It makes the red wizard real gishy and kinetic. Double targeting. Whenever you cast an instantaneous spell that targets only 1 creature by expending only red mana, you can have it target a second creature. So if I were to cast Scorching Ray, I think it's a 2nd level spell. If I spent 2 red mana to cast that spell instead of 1 plus something else, I can target 2 creatures. Disintegrate is a 6th level spell. If I only use red mana to cast that spell, with 6 red mana, I can target 2 creatures instead of just 1. So if I don't have enough red mana, I lose that feature. If I'm stacking my mana pool to be only red, to lean into the shit that I can do, like Scorching Ray is automatically a red spell. I could upcast that to 6th level to scorch 1 person, and then since I'm using nothing but red mana, I could scorch a second target. That's really efficient mana use. And then over channel, whenever you cast a common spell, which is a spell up to 5th level, cantrips are 0 level magic. Common magic is 1 to 5. High magic is 6 to 9, and then epic magic is 10th level plus. Over channel, whenever you cast a common magic spell by expending only red mana, you deal maximum damage. Once you've expended red mana equal to the maximum spell level you can cast, you can't use this feature again until you finish a long rest. Once you have used this I'm just going to simplify that. Once you have used this feature, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest. So whenever you cast a common spell by expending only red mana, you deal maximum damage. There you go. And then we have the tradition of green magic, our final color. Green Savant, 2 spells up to 2nd level. They're automatically green for you. Every time you gain a spell, that spell will also be green regardless of what its colors naturally are. So that's 10 spells by 19th level. Cheers. And it's half the time. So each week that you spend researching spells, you get 2 spells you can convert to green on top of that. Flock of Familiars. You have the Find Familiar spell prepared, and for 1 green mana, you can use the magic action to cast it without material components as a level 1 spell that requires concentration. You can upcast this spell, summoning 1 additional familiar for each additional point of green mana to a maximum of 10 when you reach 19th level. You can command 1 familiar with a bonus action, and you can see through 1 familiar at a time. But this is going to allow you to have a swarm of familiars that you're always going to be able to connect with because they're all acting as familiars. But they require concentration, and the more familiars you have, the higher your concentration is going to ratchet up. But you can become just the master of creatures if you do this. Very appropriate for green. Summon allies at 6. You always have the Summon Beast and Summon Fae spells prepared. Whenever both Fae and Beasts are keyed to green mana. Fae are blue-green, while Beasts are pure green. Whenever you cast either spell by expending only green mana, upcasting either counts towards the maximum number of spell levels you can maintain concentration on at once without expending additional mana. That is horribly written. Upcasting either spell counts towards the maximum number of spell. Doesn't. Hold on. At once without expending additional. Whenever you cast either spell by, I need to grab the black. This is basically black mana undead, but for green characters. So let me grab that language. Gains the blank gains the benefit. There we go. Let's get back down into there. Upcasting either. Wait, what just happened? Upcasting either. Let's see. Only green mana. Whenever you cast either spell by expending only green mana, the summoned creature benefits. Creature gains the benefits of upcasting to your maximum spell level without expending additional mana to do so. It's basically a duplicate. Let's verify that's true. Let's look up Summon Beast and Summon Beast and Summon Fae. So let's look up those spells. Summon Beast. There we go. So Summon Beast is a 2nd level spell. So if we use 2 mana on it at 19th level, it's going to have all this shit stacked up on it. It is a concentration spell though. So basically we just get to cast it for cheap. That also means that at 19th level, we can cast this spell 5 times and have 5 brutes at maximum level, which is crazy. But your concentration DC is 20 against every saving throw that you make. So you're going to pay for that power. If you want to, just like having 10 familiars flocking around you. So you could have a bestial spirit. You could have like say 4. Let's look at Summon Fae real quick. Because Summon Beast is only 2nd level. I think Summon Fae is 6. Let's verify that. Oh, it's only 3rd. So 2nd level Beast, 3rd level Fae, and then 5 familiars would be 10 mana. And the Fae and the Beast would both be considered having been cast at 10th level if you're a 19th level character. So good synergy that stacks up there. Very much enjoy that. That's summoning allies. So black and green, unironically, both have similar features when they're summoning allies. The undead for the black and Fae and beasts for green. Shape Changer. You always have the polymorph spell prepared, and whenever you cast it on yourself by expending only green mana, the duration is, let's look up polymorph. You have the, which one? Polymorph spell. Right. I think that's 7th level. No, must be 6th. 4th? Maybe it's 4th. I'm looking for it. Hold on. There it is. Polymorph. 4th level spell. Blue and red. That sounds weird. I feel like that's supposed to be green. Let's look up, actually, let's look up the 2026 revised list. I'm going to take a second here because we spent the first 6 episodes of this series that we're doing. We spent those all on revising this list. I haven't updated it yet, but it's in progress. We'll have it updated probably by May. Let's go down to level 4 and find polymorph because that feels like it should be green. Yep, we added green to it, so that's appropriate. Thank you. Well, again, we'll have this updated for you guys ASAP, which will probably be May. But it's coming. Keep an eye out. Okay, great. So we can cast polymorph as a green, as it should be. Whenever you cast it on yourself by expending only green mana, which means 4 points of green or more, the duration is persistent until you decide to end the effect. You can expend an additional 4 green mana as a magic action to change to a new form without ending the spell to recast it, even if your current form would normally not be able to do so. So it basically becomes, by level 10, it becomes an expensive wild shape. For the druid, wild shape is normally 2 mana. You get free uses of it, but it converts into 2 mana when you do so. And then at 14, focus summoning. When you have used the summon allies feature to cast either summon beast or summon fae, the green mana tap to do so doesn't increase your concentration DC, minimum of 10. So instead of summon allies being a 2nd and 3rd level spell, they're now, when you cast them, they're now considered cantrips. So it's only a DC 10 to maintain concentration on them. So you get the benefit of a 10th level beast with a DC with only a cantrip level of concentration required for it. So again, green is king. Whenever you use the flock of familiars or summon allies features, find familiar, summon beast, or summon fae, the green mana tapped to do so doesn't increase your concentration DC above 10. So I can have 10 mana worth of critters that I have summoned only costing a DC of 10. You are still limited to your max spell level. You are still limited. Yeah, you are still limited. This mana counts towards your max spell limit. This mana counts towards the max spell limit you can have tapped at once as normal. So if I have 5 summons worth of mana active and I'm maintaining concentration on, like, say, polymorph, then that would be 10 mana tapped, but only 5 of it counts towards my DC because all of the summonings are only counting as DC 10, but then the 4 levels of polymorph that I have added on top of it increases the DC to 14. Sorry, 4th level spell DC 10 plus 14. The summon spells are only DC 10, so it keeps my concentration low until I start stacking more stuff up on it. But if I do, I'll lose all of those spells, not just the polymorph spell, but all of them. And that's green. So we just got through everything. And it took, like, what, an hour for us to do that? Hour and 14 minutes? That's not bad. I don't have the time tonight available for me to go through Warlock and Artificer. So I'm going to hold off, and then Saturday morning we'll do the Artificer. Monday night next week we'll do Saturday morning we'll do Warlock. Monday next week we'll do Artificer, and then Thursday next week we'll be back on doing the Mecha Kaiju Spelljammer Bastion campaign prep that we've been building, creating asteroid dungeons, and probably fleshing out some more enemy faction groups that might be present. Yeah, we'll figure that stuff out. But that's what we'll be doing next week. So I'm going to go ahead and cut stream for now. I really appreciate everybody that came kicking through here and checking this stuff out. Thanks a lot, guys. And I will see. I do artwork Monday through Friday in the morning. So we're finishing a fantasy landscape painting. We'll be working on that tomorrow morning and probably actually finish that on Monday. And then we're going to start probably. I think I have a commission that I'm going to do. And then by April we'll start doing book covers for the Martial Powers book, the Bastion campaign book, the Spelljammer subclasses book, and we'll start doing page design for the class, the class and subclass conversions for Martial Powers and the Color Mana system. We'll start building those into PDFs. So that's what we'll be doing on April Plus, and we do playtesting on my Discord server on Saturday mornings. Saturday mornings, actually 12:30 p.m. Eastern time. From 12:30 Eastern time till 4 o'clock p.m. on Saturdays. So I'm not sure if we're going to have people participating or not. If we don't have playtesting this weekend, I'll do both Artificer and the Warlock and be into the Spelljammer, Bastion, Kaiju stuff on Monday. We'll see how things flow. Keeping it liquid. But again, hey, thanks a lot, guys, for checking this stuff out. I will see you all tomorrow morning. Cheers.